All right, we can go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope everyone's having a good start to their morning, or if you're watching this recorded, hope you're having a great day. This is day 3 of the sport performance class. So we're doing the third day that I have planned for us. And then next week, we'll start off with day 1 again. So today you are going to need a set of dumbbells. If you do not have dumbbells, I'll give you alternatives to do. But the purpose of today is going to be more strength training aspect of sports. So let's go ahead and we're going to get right into this. We are already doing today is going to be more rep based, but I'll kind of give us like a time or two so we can kind of fit it in. So it's going to be similar to an EMOM, but we are aiming for reps. So today we're aiming to do about 3 rounds of 10 reps of each exercise. So I'll go ahead and show y'all what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to start off with some overhead pressing. So we're going to have our dumbbells here, and we're going to have the dumbbell starting at our shoulders here, elbow slightly in, pressing above head and coming back down. So we're just using our shoulders here, pressing, doing about 10 of them. And again, if you don't have dumbbells, you can do some pike push-ups. So you'll be on the ground here, butt is in the air, bringing the head towards the ground and pushing back up. So that's the alternative to the overhead pressing. If you feel like you want to do more than just the overhead pressing as well, you can do both of those and get an extra shoulder workout. And the second thing we're going to do after that are going to be squat jumps, and these are going to be weighted. So we're going to hold the weights here. You can either hold them in the middle, on the side, or at the shoulders, whatever feels most comfortable. But we want to make sure that we're landing nice and soft here. So I'll show from this angle. So feet are shoulder width apart. We're going to squat down, jump up, land nice and soft. So we continuously move through that movement, squeezing the glutes, making sure as we squat down and jump, our back is staying nice and flat. And again, we're landing on our whole foot nice and soft. We don't want to be stomping on the ground. And the next thing we're going to do are bent over rows. So our feet are going to be shoulder width apart, hinging at the hips, pushing those hips back. We're going to squeeze at the armpits and pull the weights toward us here. And we are also going to do some bent over T's. So we're going to do 10 rows and then 10 T's. So again, still bent over here, coming straight out to the side and back down. So from this angle, you're going to be coming out like this. And if you don't have weights, you can just go ahead and do those without any weights. So you can just do these instead. And again, today we're starting with 3 rounds of 10. And then next thing we're going to do are reverse lunges. So we're going to do alternating here. Actually, no, we're going to do all on one leg and then all on the other leg. So we're going to do 10 on each leg. So I'm going to start with my left, stepping back behind, letting that knee track past that second toe. Center of mass is directly over the arch of that foot. Squeeze the glutes, stand on back up. So all on one leg and then all on the other leg there. And then we are going to be on the ground for this next one. And we're going to have our feet shoulder width apart. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold a glute bridge. So we're squeezing those glutes. And we're going to do some floor presses here. So it's just like a bench press. So our elbows are slightly in. We want about a 45-degree angle. We're going to push the weight up to the ceiling and back down. So we're pushing, squeezing through our armpits, squeezing our chest and back down. So that's that exercise. And then the last thing we're going to do are some bird dogs. So we're going to be on our hands and our knees here for this. And for these, we want to make sure that we're sinking slightly back into those hips. So our knees are going to be slightly forward. So we have a slight angle here. So that way, when we reach opposite arm, opposite leg, we're not shaking around. We are steady into that glute, reaching straight out as far as we can, keeping that hip down. So we want to make sure we're not opening up here. We're keeping that hip down, squeezing through the glute. All right, so that is our circuit for today. So let's go ahead and get started with our warm up. And we're gonna start on the ground on our hands and our knees. We're gonna do some quadruped rocking here. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and we're gonna rock back. And we're gonna squeeze the glutes coming up, and let's rock slightly forward onto our hands a little bit more here, and then on back. Move here a little bit. So rocking back, glutes to heels, rocking slightly forward past, getting a nice little wrist stretch, getting our arms a little bit warmed up here. Yeah, let's go ahead and do 2 more here. And last one. Awesome. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stand on up. We're gonna do the world's greatest stretch. So we're gonna start with the right leg here. I'm gonna scoop my right knee up, bring it towards my chest, and we're gonna step back into a reverse lunge, bringing our hands down to the ground on the inside of that front foot. And we're gonna exhale nice and big, rotating up towards that front leg. So my left leg is in front, my left arm is towards the ceiling, gazing past that thumb. And we're gonna turn, place the hand on the outside of that front foot, push ourselves up into a nice hamstring stretch here. And we're gonna bring our right foot next to the left foot and stand on up. All right, so now we're gonna do the other side. So scooping that left knee up, bringing it towards the chest. And we're gonna exhale, step back into a reverse lunge, hands on the ground on the inside of that front leg, keeping our back leg nice and straight. We're gonna rotate now towards the other leg. So my right leg is in front, right arm is in the air, gazing past that thumb. And we're gonna place that hand on the outside of the right foot, push ourselves up into a nice hamstring stretch. And we're gonna bring the left foot next to the right foot and stand on up. Awesome. So now we're nice and warm, so we can go ahead and get started. So for today's dumbbell, I would highly recommend grabbing a heavier weight than you're used to, since we're not doing that many reps. We really want to make sure we're progressing through this. So each time we are going to be using different rep ranges and different weights. So I do recommend starting with a little bit of a heavier weight today. So if you normally use 5 pounds, I would definitely recommend using 8 to 10 pounds today. So if you don't have the ability to do that, then let's just move through this nice and slow so we can go all at the same pace. So again, we're doing reps today. So I know normally in these classes we like to do time, but today we're doing reps. So starting with those overhead presses, we're gonna go nice and slow. We're doing 10 of these. So we wanna make sure we're controlling the weight, squeezing through the shoulders. And remember, we wanna make sure that when we come up over our head, we're not arching our back. If we're starting to do that, the weight is too heavy. We wanna make sure we're staying nice and tight with our pelvis tucked and our core is nice and tight so our back is flat. Keeping those shoulders away from our ears. We're not shrugging the weight up. 2 more here. And last one. Awesome. Great job, everyone. All right, next up, we got those squat jumps. Okay, so we're going to do 10 of these. And again, making sure that we are landing with our whole foot on the ground, and we are going to be landing nice and soft. We want to make sure we're not letting those knees come too far forward. We want to be in a nice squat position, getting those hips back. So I'll show from this angle for this one. So we're doing 10 of these, okay? So squatting down, jumping, landing nice and soft, getting as low as we can. Awesome. Good job, everyone. I know those can be a little tough on the legs, especially if you came to my classes yesterday. All right, next thing we are doing is going to be our bent over tees. So we're doing tees. All right, so doing the bent over tees. So what we're gonna do, oh my, so what we're gonna do here, so we're gonna have our feet shoulder width apart, and we're pushing those hips back, arms straight out in front, and we're squeezing through the rear delts, through the shoulders, and coming back to center. Make sure we're using those shoulders, using our back here. We're doing 10. Just going as slow as we can, using those muscles here, getting stronger. 2 more, keeping that back flat. Last one. Awesome. Perfect. And again, if you don't have weights, you can do those without the weights there. All right, next up, we are doing reverse lunges. So again, 10 on each leg. We're doing all on one leg and all on the other. Okay, so I'm going to start with my left leg, doing 10, just stepping straight back and squeezing the glute and coming up. We want to make sure that when we do step back, if you can see, my right leg is off to the side. We don't want to step directly behind there because then we're going to be a little bit wobbly. Doing 10 on this side. Great job, everyone. Keeping that center of mass and all of our weight in that front leg. 2 more. And last one. Awesome. So now we can go ahead and move into that other leg. So all the weight is in that front foot. We're just using that back leg for balance. Our front leg is doing all of the work. Exhaling as we come up. Great job. 2 more. Squeeze those glutes. And last one. Perfect. All right, so now we're getting on the ground for the glute bridge hold and the floor presses. So feet shoulder width apart, squeeze the glutes, hips in line with the shoulders and the knees. And we're going to squeeze through the chest, push those weights up towards the ceiling. Want to make sure our elbows are staying as close to our body as we can. Want them to be about 45 degrees. We don't want our shoulders, our elbows straight out from the shoulders. It's where we can potentially get some shoulder injuries. Want to avoid those. Awesome. 2 more here. Last one. Perfect. All right. The last part of the circuit, and then we got a couple more rounds of this. We're doing those bird dogs. So on the hands and knees, we're sinking back into our hips. And opposite arm, opposite leg, extend straight out, back to center. So we're pointing our hips down, keeping our core tight so our back is flat. When we extend our hips, our back should not be dipping like that. We want to be nice and straight. Squeeze through the glute. Exhale, bring your legs and your arms back to center using your core. Just like with bed bugs, want to use our core to bring back to center. We're doing 10 on each side, so 20 total. I want to make sure we're making these as hard as we can. It's pretty easy to fly through them and do them incorrectly, so I want to make sure we're keeping that core tight. Hips are down. We got 2 more each side. And last one each side. Great job, y'all. All right. We got a few more rounds of this, so go ahead and get a sip of water if you need it. Definitely important to stay hydrated. And now we're going to move on to the next one. So, starting at the top, overhead presses. Doing 10 of these. So we're starting with the weight right above the shoulders, elbows slightly in. So you can see my elbows are slightly in. We're not straight out, we're slightly in. And we're pushing overhead, keeping our core nice and tight, shoulder blades pulled down and back. We're not shrugging the weight up, we're pushing it with our shoulders. Two more. And last one. Awesome. All right, up next, we got those jump squats coming up. 10 jump squats. Feet shoulder width apart, and we're going. Landing as softly as we can. Pushing your whole foot. 2 more. Last one. Awesome. That's definitely going to help with explosive movements for sports. And up next, the bent over tees. So feet shoulders apart. Push those hips back, arms straight out in front, straight out to the side, and back down. Again, if you don't have weights, you can go ahead and do these without weights. You get the same effect. Two more here, and last one. Whew, awesome. All right, next part, we are going to be doing reverse lunges. So we're going to be starting all on one leg and then all on the other leg. So doing my left leg first. I'm going to put all that weight in the front foot, step back, squeeze the glutes, stand on up. So making sure we're using those glutes. All of our weight is in the front part or on our front foot. Our back leg is there to make sure we're not falling over. Our knees tracking past the second toe. And our chest is just over the arch of our foot. We are doing 10 on each side, so we got two more here. And last one. Awesome, great job. So now we're gonna go ahead and move over onto the right leg here. So we're stepping back, doing the same thing, 10 on this side. Making sure we're squeezing through the glute. Awesome, almost there. We got two more. And by two, I mean two now. And last one. Perfect. All right. Up next, we're going to get on the ground on our backs for the floor presses with the glute bridge hold at the top. So we're squeezing the glutes, bringing those hips up, and we're going to squeeze through the chest, come straight up and back down. We're exhaling as we push the weight up. Awesome. Got two more. And last one. Awesome. All right, last part of the circuit, and then we'll go ahead and do some cool down movements, and we'll get into that mindset reset portion while we're starting to cool down. So last thing we're doing today of the circuit, we got bird dogs. So we got our hands are under the shoulders, knees below the hips, sink back slightly into those hips here. We're gonna extend opposite arm, opposite leg, keeping those hips down. We're exhaling as we come back to center. We're squeezing the glutes, keeping those hips pointed down, and our core is helping our back stay nice and flat. We don't want to extend our legs too high because that's kind of when our back will start to extend. So see how my leg is straight out? We're not coming up, we're straight out and back. So hips are down, back is flat. Using that core, keeping everything tight. Using our core to come back to center. Just a reminder, we're doing 10 on each side. So it's 20 total. If that counting works a little bit better for your brain. Awesome, we got two more each side. And last one on each side. And that will be all we have time for the sport performance aspect. So now we're gonna go ahead and do a couple stretches as we get our mindset ready and do that mindset reset. So we're gonna start right now on our hands and our knees here. We're gonna start bringing our body and our heart rates down. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my left hand right now and I'm gonna thread it through my right arm and my right leg. And I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to wrap it around my body, tuck it into my hip of the opposite knee. And here we're going to start to slow our breathing down. Take a nice, big, deep breath. Slowly exhaling, feeling our body start to relax. And once we can get our body to relax, we can really start to tap into that mindset here. So, nice, big, deep inhales into the belly. And we're going to slowly exhale here. Let's do one more of those, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So, starting to relax our body, starting to be more aware of how we feel, how our body feels. After our exhale, we can take that right hand, place it back on the ground, place that left hand on the ground, and then we'll switch over to the other side. So now we're going to have my my right arm is going to thread in between my left arm and my left leg here. And once we get that hand on the ground, we're going to open up our chest as well, bringing our left hand all the way around our bodies. And again, really start to be aware of how you're feeling, of how this stretch is feeling in your body. And just really bring some focus and awareness to maybe some tight points that you're feeling. Maybe you're noticing one side is a little bit harder to do than the other. Maybe one side feels a little bit tighter or looser. Maybe both sides feel the same. We're just going to make a mental note of how our body feels. Do we feel stressed? Do we feel anxious? How do we feel about how today is going to go? Maybe we hold some tightness in our upper bodies. I know I tend to hold my stress there. So maybe that's what we're helping our bodies to do right now is kind of be aware of what we're feeling. And we're going to take one more big inhale. Slowly exhaling. We can place the left hand on the ground and the right hand back on the ground. And now what we can do here is, if you would like, we can drop our glutes towards the heels, walk our hands out, and we're going to do some child's pose here. So forehead, chin, or cheek to the mat. And again, we're just bringing more awareness to our bodies. And when we can really fully relax in this position, we're going to be able to have, again, a better mindset going into the day. So I know sometimes, our necks, our shoulders, our backs, our low backs especially can be really tight from sitting at the computer, even standing at the computer during the day. So when we're in this pose, we're going to take a nice, big, deep belly breath, feeling our hips, feeling our low back expand. And then we're going to exhale and feel those hips sink further into the ground. So with each exhale here, our bodies are going to be sinking further and further into the ground, whether that's your hips, whether that's your chest, whether that's your shoulders, whatever is feeling tight, wherever you feel that tension, that's what I want to sink into the ground. And again, right now we're bringing more awareness into our bodies and how we feel. And when we think about it, if we have anything that's tight or that feels extra tight today, maybe it's because, again, we're feeling anxious about the day. Or do we have, a big presentation coming up today? Do we have a stressful meeting? Do we have projects due? All that kind of will come into fruition into our bodies. So it is really important to make sure that we're being aware of how we feel going into each day. So, doing some stretches like this will kind of help reset our mind, bring awareness and focus into our breath, and that will help us kind of mentally relax and reset before we move on with our next task or before we get started with the day. So, I know I love to either start or end my day with some child's pose and some breathing to help bring awareness to my body and help reset everything. And while we're here, while we're breathing really deep, so we're inhaling into that belly, we're exhaling a little bit longer than what we're inhaling. And while we're here, let's go ahead and think about what an ideal day looks for us. how are we going to feel today? Like, what's the tone we're going to set for today? How do you want to feel? How do you want things to go? Are you going to be drinking all of your water? Are you going to be staying hydrated? Is that an ideal day for you? Or is it making sure you're grabbing the right types of foods throughout the day, whatever that means to you? I know health is very relative and it's different from person to person. So maybe it's, you know, making sure we're not over snacking. Maybe it's not going out for dinner tonight, or maybe it is going out for dinner tonight. Just think about what that ideal day looks for you from morning all the way through work, all the way to the end of the day. I want you to take a second, take a minute, visualize what you want your day to look like. This again will help us with a better mindset going into the day when we feel that we're best prepared for what is to come. So, the more we can visualize, manifest things, the more we're going to be prepared for what is coming our way. I love to practice some visualization and manifestation. That way, when you want something or you want something to happen, when it does happen, you feel like you've already been there. So when you can picture yourself doing, everything that you want to accomplish today, it's not going to feel as like a surprise at the end of the day when you do it, right? You're going to be like, oh yeah, I planned on doing this. So of course I finished everything I wanted to do today. So that's kind of one way you can use some visualization is just picturing yourself, you know, doing what you want to accomplish. And that could be day to day. And that could also be, over a course of a year or over the course of a month or 5 years, whatever your plan is, whatever that end goal for you is, wherever you want to be, just picture yourself being there. And spending 5-10 minutes a day picturing that will help you. Again, it'll feel more real when it happens, and you'll feel like, oh, I've already been here, and you're very connected to that moment. So definitely try practicing that while, again, you can do it sitting, standing, closing your eyes with your eyes open, in child's pose, deep breathing, whatever feels most comfortable for you. We can go ahead and do one more big inhale. And with this last exhale, we're going to sigh away all of the tension we feel, letting go of all the stress we have. And we can, if your eyes were closed, you can go ahead and open your eyes, or you can return to seated, kneeling, or standing, however you would like to finish out this mindset reset. But that will be all I have time for today. Thank you for joining me for Sports Performance and Mindset Reset. I know it's a really fun class for me, so I'm really happy that we can do this. We do have one more class today. We have Functional Fitness Friday with Luis at 12. And don't forget, we also are having our membership satisfaction survey is live right now. So you have until next Friday, so a week from today, to fill that on out. We would definitely greatly appreciate all the support and feedback through that survey. So I've posted the link into the chat. But as always, all of our information is up on SharePoint. You can check YouTube for all our past classes and videos, and let us know if you have any questions about everything. But thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.